Well, hello, this is Martine from Single Mother by Choice, and I'm back with a podcast. Um, this feels really odd for me because it's been such a long time since I've connected to anyone in this way. And so today, the first one, I just want to tell you that I'm back and kind of explain where I've been and what my idea is for this podcast. And first of all, I just want to let you know that I'm currently recording in my car in a parking lot. That is because I realized really the only time I ever have to do anything is during this time when my daughter has dance class. It's like a 45-minute dance class, and it's the only time I can be alone and have quiet and privacy to be able to record anything. I tried so many times. At first I thought I'll go back to YouTube, but then that required for me to have some sort of a setup, and I'm not a perfectionist, I'm not a professional, but I do like to have things done a certain way. I also felt like in order to record, I had to have some, at least something done with my hair, even if I'm not a beauty queen, but I do like to have some kind of makeup on, a little bit more natural, but still have something on, because those things live on the internet, presumably forever. So anyway, I just found it to be so complicated, and being a mom and having so much going on, especially when I went back to work, I just found that to be not a realistic thing for me to maintain and keep up with. In order for it to happen, I'd have to stay up much later than everybody else in order to record. It just was unreasonable and not something I could maintain. And then I thought to myself, okay, I'll do a podcast. I think announced it at some point on my Instagram that I'm going to do a podcast. And even with that, I thought it had to be done a certain way, and I tried to control how it was done, when it was done. And again, it just wasn't something that was fitting in with the time that I had and my current life situation. So here I am many years later, and I thought, you know what, I have this window of time, and you don't have to control everything, and I also don't have to be dressed a certain way, look a certain way. I can just be in my car with my phone and this little tiny microphone and record for all of you. And because I really miss connecting with people, don't mind me if you hear a beep, I'm just lowering the fan of my car because it's cold. Anyway, so I it's not going to be perfect, and I kind of lost my train of thought, mom brain. But the point is, it's not going to be perfect, and this is a window of time that I have, and I really want to reconnect. And so I thought, okay, let's just do it this way. I hope that you will come along and join me and help to form this community. It's so important for me as time has gone on, and I think I've mentioned this before, but it really does take a village to be a parent. So I'm lucky enough to have my mom's support, and she helps me out so much in so many ways, and I appreciate her for that. She helps me with childcare. She just helps me with, she's like my co-parent at this point. Seriously. But also, it's nice to connect with moms, moms of all types. I have moms who are married, I have moms who are single, I have all types of people in my life that are parents in one way or another. And so that's been important to me, and important for our kids to kind of connect and get together. So I found lots of ways to connect in my personal life, but I also really love this community. I've met so many great people. I've met women who are parents, who are thinking about becoming parents, and it's always been, I enjoy helping people. I'm someone who likes to provide service to others, and I think this just makes me feel good, but also it helps others feel seen and heard. And if they have questions, people have always still reached out to me after all these years. People still reach out sometimes with questions or just looking for some support. Anyway, this is long-winded, but this is why I'm back. So where have I been? Where have I been? Well, last we left off, I was trying, if you watch my YouTube channel, I was trying for baby number 2, and that was not successful. I did not continue to try just because financially it wasn't feasible. And, I just didn't want to keep taking all of those fertility drugs as well, because when I went back to work, I could have used my insurance to try for another baby. But I just think as I've gotten older, now I'm about to turn 45, and my daughter is older. She's turning 6 soon. So I just feel like that ship has passed. I don't know if in the future I will maybe adopt or foster a child, but right now I think, one is enough for me. The other thing too, I'm not going to share any private information, but just in general, I did join a Facebook group that was attached to or linked to my fertility clinic, and there I was actually able to connect with other families that use the same donor as me. And so we have our own private Facebook group where we keep in touch with one another. We share pictures of the kids, and I think we're trying to organize because people are spread out through the United States and also overseas. And so we're trying to plan a get together where we can introduce the kids to each other and they can form a relationship with one another as they grow up. So that's fun and that's interesting, and I'm glad for my daughter, since I chose at this time anyway not to have more kids. Although I have to tell you, I've been having baby fever. I don't know where it came from. I don't know if I'm perimenopausal. I don't know what's going on, but I have had dreams about a baby boy. I've been having like the fever, but again, I just realized that it's not the time or the place at this point to even pursue having another child. But anyway, so there's that, or my daughter, we're connecting with the siblings that we know of. At this point, I think the total number of kids is like maybe 12, including my daughter. I'm not sure, but it's something like 12 to 14 people, or kids, I should say, from that same donor in the Facebook group. And that's been fun. Not everybody's open to that, but I think for the sake of my daughter, and since the resources are there, I say why not? I think she should know that she has siblings and who they are, and if she wants to have a relationship with them as she grows up, then that'll be up to her. So I think that's good. Let's see. I took 3 years maternity leave. I did go back to work, and that was rough initially. It was kind of actually rough, but also good at first. So rough because it was really difficult for me to leave my daughter. She was starting school actually at the same time. She was starting preschool or nursery school at the same time. So we were both starting on this new journey together. But it was rough. So I remember one morning I was on my way to work, and my mom called me and says, "Oh, she really wants to talk to you, and can you just say hi?" And then suddenly, like, my daughter started to cry, and then I was crying in the middle of the street. I was like such a mess, hysterical crying. I was like, "Mom, you cannot call me like this. You cannot give me these phone calls in the morning. I know she really wanted to talk to me, and I do too, but I can't start my day like this where we're both crying." And, then I'm totally thrown off for the rest of the day. So there was that where I was feeling very sad, and I missed my daughter so much. But also being home for 3 years, and, especially during the pandemic, and part of it was during the pandemic, and we didn't have a chance to connect too much to other families and other kids. I didn't have a lot of like adult time to be able to connect to other people. It felt good to use my brain and to feel like I was back to myself a little bit, because I didn't have that alone time or time with my peers. So I just felt like, wow, I'm out in this world, and I felt like myself. I didn't feel like I was just someone's mom. I was also this productive, intelligent, working person who also had a sense of humor, and I could make jokes that, with my peers, with my colleagues, that were like adult jokes and not just like little kid, like, cutesy things. And I didn't have to, anyway, it felt good in that sense, but also really hard because who wants to leave their child? But again, it was also that she was starting school. She was going to be out of the house also. I wasn't just leaving her at home. She was starting her school journey. So we both made it. We're both alive. She's still, my daughter has attachment, issues where she really still wants me to not work. At this point, I agree with her. I don't want to work anymore either. Oh boy, my commute is 3 hours a day, and it is so much. And it takes a toll on me physically, mentally. I'm just pooped, and I feel bad for my daughter because when I get home at night, I don't have the energy. Like, she's still, 5-year-olds, they're just full of energy 24/7, and she still has a lot of energy. She wants to do this, do that, wants to play, and I just want to lay down. I just want to sleep. But I don't know, I'm working on it. I'm working on trying to rebuild my energy. I don't know if you saw my post on Instagram about, trying to get back to a healthier me. I am trying. I'm using Ozempic, and I'll get into that in a different episode. But I'm trying to not just do it for myself to feel better in my own skin, but just also to have the energy to keep up with my young child. I see even my mom, she's 70 years old, when she goes to pick my daughter up, and they all love my mom. They all call her grandma, all the kids. And then, they're like, Grandma, chase us, and she's running after them. And when I go, they're like, Mom, chase us. And I'm like, I don't think so. Because I just don't feel good in my own skin. I'm not going to be running around the schoolyard huffing and puffing and not being able to keep up with 5-year-olds. But my 70-year-old mom can. So that says a lot about my state of health at this point. So I'm working on that. But anyway, so what else have I been up to in the last few years? That's basically it. So the other thing is trying to find balance. I'm having a hard time with that, and I don't know if that's even possible to have complete balance, but I'm trying to have more balance. I never think it's going to be even, but at this point, I feel like work takes up too much of my energy, not just being at work, because often I do try to get everything I need to get done at work. Some things I do have to do outside of the workday, but for the most part, I try to get as much done as possible at work. And if certain things don't get done, then they wait till the next day, unless obviously it's an emergency. But I try to plan my time so that I can get everything done that I need to get done at work. But the commute, I think, is the biggest problem that's sucking my energy. It's really the root of my unhappiness these days. I've been feeling quite unhappy with my work situation, and it's not because of my students. It's not because, of any of that. It's just my students are great, actually. I'm really happy with that. But it's just the getting up at 5 a.m., commuting an hour and a half, and then commuting back home an hour and a half. And I'm running out of the building most days to try to catch my train so I could make it home by a certain time, so that I could be home with my daughter. We have dinner, do the homework, play, and then bedtime. It's just, I feel like a mouse on a wheel, just spinning my wheels constantly. And it doesn't feel like a life. And I was talking to someone actually around Christmas. It was the last day before our vacation, and my lunch crew and we all got together at work. My lunch crew from work, we all got together, and we had so much fun. We had such a good time. I laughed. We were having cocktails. Like, it was so much fun. It reminded me, like, oh my God, I need to have a social life too. So I had to add that to the list of trying to make time. Obviously, it can't happen every weekend, but I need to try to find a way to make it happen maybe once a month or a couple of, something. I don't even think it could happen every couple of months. But, and recently, actually just last night, my daughter goes to a private school. And so the moms are trying to organize like a mom's night out for her class and the other class that's in the same grade. And unfortunately, my mom will be away that weekend, so I actually won't be able to attend. I was so sad when I looked at the date and I was like, oh, damn. damn. So I unfortunately won't be able to attend that mom's night out, but that's another way for me to find ways to socialize. Another way that I found, but it's not the same, is play dates. So the kids are playing while the moms kind of just get to hang out, and it's good. But when kids are there, like I don't know. And if you know me personally, you know that I'm a wild person. I sound like I'm not wild or anything, but I like to have fun, and I like to just have jokes that are not always appropriate for a child to hear. So even though the moms may be in the kitchen, like cackling and laughing and having fun or talking about things, there are certain things you're not going to talk about with kids around, at least for me. I'm not going to talk about certain things because I don't know about you, but my daughter, she could be 3 rooms away, and playing. You hear her talking and playing and doing, but she's also listening to every single word you're saying. I mean, that has happened so many times where I'm having a conversation with my mom or somebody else, and then she will be completely listening and then have a response to share or something. So I definitely need time away from my daughter. And I actually, while I was, I think a couple of years ago, it was not last birthday, but my birthday previously, I actually set up an alone vacation where I booked a hotel in New Jersey, in Hoboken. I went to the W Hotel. I scheduled time to go to the spa. And I actually invited my best friend because she also hadn't been away at that point from her child since she was born, and they were like 3 at the time, 3 or 4. And so we both just took that weekend. We went to restaurants, we had cocktails, we were up later, we slept in. We traveled like how we used to. It was, even though it was nearby, it was like an hour and a half away, 2 hours away from my house, but it was just like a staycation, being able to get away for a little bit. And I told my daughter, like, I might be planning a trip by myself, and she like lost it because she's like, if I come, I don't get to go. I want to go on vacation too. And I'm like, you get to go on lots of vacations. Mommy needs alone time. And I've been working on that with her, to know that just because I need alone time sometimes, it doesn't mean that I don't love you, I don't care about you, but everybody needs time to themselves, or time alone with their friends. So we're working on that. But anyway, that's kind of what I've been up to in the past few years. And my goal is to find balance at this point, or more balance. It's not going to be perfect. I think that's a lie we've been told. Work-life balance. I don't know if that truly exists. But I'm going to try to make it happen as much as I can. So, what's the point of this podcast? The point of this podcast is really for me to talk to you more personally. So, recently someone shared with me a link to a video on YouTube where a guy was commenting or like did a response video to one of my videos, and he was kind of an asshole. And I just thought about it. Initially, I was going to make these podcasts just on, on my YouTube, like have them be available there, or have it be more public and free and available. But I thought, you know what? I don't feel like dealing with douchebags. I don't feel like having a-holes comment on my life, my choices, what I'm talking about. I don't mind constructive criticism. I've never really minded that at all if you're being kind, but give me constructive criticism, which sometimes can feel harsh, but if it's your intention is to be helpful or to point something out that I maybe didn't notice, I don't mind at all. But if you're just doing something to be a jerk, or just to be mean, I'm not into it. And so I thought, if somebody really, really wants to pay to listen to me and then have something to say about it, well, at least I get something out of it. When you're taking my material and using it on your own channel and like benefiting from it and I don't benefit from it, that's not okay with me. So that's one reason. And then the other reason too is I am a teacher. And I don't feel like, and this social media, they rat you out all the time. Like, there are so many students who are like, oh, you popped up on my YouTube. And I'm like, how's that possible? First of all, you're like a teenager. Why is YouTube recommending my video to you? It's so bizarre to me. So I prefer for this to be more private because of that as well. I'm only making it $5 a month because my plan is to have 2 videos out per month, which is really just $2.50 per month. So if you want to, I'm still going to obviously put out Instagram posts, but I just won't get too specific or too detailed with those posts. But you'll get the gist of what I'm talking about and what I'm up to, etc. But you'll get more of the honest, real conversations here if you're interested. And if you're not, that's cool, But I figured this would be like a good thing for me to do, because again, I miss connecting in this way. I like talking to all of you, so I hope you become really engaged. Share responses. Maybe we could at some point even organize. My plan is we could even organize at some point like a hangout, like a virtual hangout, so we can, get together in that way. If you're interested in that, let me know. But that's it. I really just wanted to find a way to connect and do it in a way that would work for me with the time that I have. So I hope you find this interesting. Please give me ideas if you want about, topics you'd like for me to cover and talk about. I'd love to hear from you. And now I have to go get my daughter from dance. I actually had to leave her dance studio parking lot because it's embarrassing for me to have my little microphone and talking into it while people are passing by and stuff like that. So I'm in a parking lot at another facility a few minutes away, so I have to go drive back. This is so funny to me that I'm sitting in a car by myself talking. But anyway, I hope to hear from you soon. I hope that you join me, and I hope that you enjoy what I have to say. And again, I do want to hear from you, hear what you also have to say, and topics you might want to hear me cover. Oh, dating, I know, is something that has come up previously. Am I dating? What do I want to date? I'll cover that maybe next time in the next video, because I feel like I've skirted around that a lot. All right, I really have to go. So I hope you have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon.